Welcome, everyone. My name is Carolyn Howell, and I'm the executive producer of CFN for the DMV. Today is our Newsmaker series. What is a newsmaker? Newsmakers on our TV are those individuals who stand out in the community for the things that they've achieved through their careers, their personal and professional lives. And today I am so thrilled to be able to bring a newsmaker to the fore for us, somebody that is widely known in the DC, Maryland, Virginia, or DMV area. This will be Thomas Penny of Donohoe Hospitality Services. So happy to welcome you, Thomas. How are you?
Good afternoon, Carolyn. Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Thank you. It is great to see you. I'm so excited. And as our listeners and viewers here, I just want to mention that our TV network can be viewed on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, Roku, as well as Time Warner Cable, Fios, and on WSTX Bloomberg, as well as in 90 Latin markets. So we've got a great audience for you today, Thomas, of viewers and listeners. Now, you're a newsmaker for many, many, many reasons. You have there's so many wonderful and interesting things that have happened. If you don't mind, I'd like to share just a little bit about you. Is that all right?
That's right.
So, Thomas Penny is president of Donohoe Hospitality Services, LLC. As senior leader of Donohoe Hospitality, Thomas guides the operation of a portfolio of 15 business class hotels with affiliated that are affiliated with Marriott, Hilton, and Intercontinental Hotels. Thomas joined Donohoe Companies in 1996 and has shared a successful 21 plus year career with the company in both development and hands on operational capacity. I just want to mention you get so many awards. It is so hard to keep track of them, but you have received awards from the advisory board, the advisory board champion award. You received that from the National Academy Foundation. The American Hotel and Lodging Association gave you the Lamp of Knowledge Award. That was an inaugural award. You've received awards from Morehouse College, as well as from the Washington Business Journal, the Visitor Service Center, so many. The list goes on and on. So you're a newsmaker for so many reasons. But I want to direct everyone's attention to a simple post that you placed on LinkedIn. And this was really quite a humble post. I think you just put it there informationally for us, but I just thought it was so interesting. You said, now this was about just a little less than a week ago. You said 30 years ago today, I started my career as a dishwasher at a local 151 room hotel. Who knew that a $4.25 per hour job would lead to a fulfilling career in hospitality? This industry has afforded me the opportunity to travel the world without leaving the workplace. I will always remember the amazing people I have met and worked with along the way. So I mentioned that post, Thomas. You probably just woke up one day and said, hey, this is 30 years today. You posted it. The post has been shared hundreds of times and has over 7,500 likes and comments on LinkedIn. So a lot of people were listening. Can you do me a favor for our listeners and viewers and tell us about that journey? When you started, what were your thoughts?
So it's been an amazing journey, and thank you for the opportunity to share. Um, Again, 30 years almost to the day. I took a job as a dishwasher, as I said, at a 151 room hotel, and the real goal was to get some money to pay my car insurance. Um, I'm working in the hotel. I was fortunate to have an executive chef who was a mentor and someone who really poured into me, even though I was a dishwasher, he poured into me. And I graduate high school. I start my first semester at a local community college. And, consistent with what sometimes happens, things happen in life to change our trajectory. And what happened for me was my only brother, 2 years my senior, had said, I want to take you out to celebrate you turning 18, graduating high school, starting college. Because I was born in D.C. I was raised, spent most of my formative years in Sea Pleasant, right outside the city where Kevin Durant's from. And the neighborhood was not always nice, I should say. And so it was a challenging environment. And so me graduating was a big deal. So we go out. My brother all night long is just telling me how proud he was because he had actually been kicked out of school. He had to go to Job Corps, and he had a different course. And so he wanted to recognize me for maintaining a level of discipline. Make a long story short, I had to leave the event early because I had to work at the hotel the next morning. So I left around midnight, and well, actually around 11 o'clock. And I got home around midnight. And around 1 o'clock in the morning, my parents and I, we were awakened by a knock at the door. And so lo and behold, we run to the door only to find two state police officers coming to let us know that he had just been killed in a car accident.
Oh, Thomas.
My only sibling, 2 years my
Mm.
senior, the closest person to me on the planet. And I remember a few days after we received the notice, my father coming to me and saying, "Son, I need you to deliver remarks at your brother's funeral. You knew him best. I think it's only fitting that you have a chance to speak to what he meant to you." I had never spoken publicly a day in my life. And I can remember being at the funeral home, and all I could do was kneel down next to his gray casket. He was 20 years old. I was 18. And all I could do is say, everything I do going forward was to make him proud.
Oh, Thomas.
And I challenged everybody who were there to go back and get their education, take care of their families, and do it as a tribute to my brother. And so 2 weeks after the funeral, I go back to the hotel, and I was on fire because, as you can appreciate, sometimes when you're young, you think you're going to live forever.
Yes.
But my brother being in a casket at 20 changed all of that. It introduced a level of urgency. So in the next 18 months, I went from washing dishes to driving the hotel van to working as a restaurant supervisor, then on to a restaurant manager. And then the food and beverage director at the hotel, who was my immediate supervisor, he abruptly passed away in the hotel. I'm 19 and a half years old. I'm the number
Wow.
2 in the department. And so the general manager said, "Thomas, you're next one up. You're going to be the food and beverage director. You're going to be my number 2 here at the hotel." And again, I was 19 and a half years old. There was a nightclub inside the hotel. There was a restaurant. There was 4,000 square feet of meeting space. It all came to me. And I couldn't consume alcohol, but I was responsible making money selling it.
Wow.
And so I stayed there for another 18 months. And just to tell you another kind of quick story, my parents, one day their house had caught on fire, and they were staying at a local hotel. And as I was visiting them, there was a lady at the front desk who worked at this hotel part-time, but her full-time job was at a hotel downtown DC. It was a Donohoe hotel.
Okay.
So she convinced me to consider coming to Donohoe. And so lo and behold, I came and I applied, and I was afforded the opportunity to come into the organization as a food and beverage manager at the age of 21 years old. And the quote that I gave, or the statement that I made in a LinkedIn post about having the opportunity to travel the world without leaving the workplace, my first day on the job and at that hotel, an Ethiopian employee came to me. She was, several years older. And she said, "I'm going to teach you a word of my language every day. I want you to learn my language."
Wow.
She's still working with us to this day. But as a result, I speak quite a bit of Amharic. I speak bits and pieces of 9 different languages. And I just believe when we're working, when we have folks within our organization from different countries, it's important for me to show respect by learning bits and pieces of their language. And so whenever I have someone who is not indigenous to this country, I make it a point to learn bits and pieces of their language.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so that is kind
Thomas,
of how I travel the world without leaving the workplace, is just taking advantage of learning the various cultures
I
of folks
love
working
that.
in hotels.
You have laid so much on us already. First of all, so sorry. That loss, when you tell the story, I can still hear the passion and emotion in your voice. So sorry for that loss. But I am so grateful that you were able to take that terrible situation and draw strength from it and be able to inspire yourself. And obviously, you're inspiring others. When we come back from our break, we're going to talk a little bit more and talk about Donohoe companies, just exactly what that meant. So everyone, please stay tuned. We're with Thomas Penny, our newsmaker. Hello and welcome. My name is Carolyn Howell, and I'm the executive producer of the Caribbean Food Network, the newest and the most fabulous way to eat, drink, and think food, fun, anything culinary, travel, tourism, you name it, we're in. Right now, I'm standing in Cookology, or at least one of the Cookologies. Cookology is a fabulous recreational and professional way to learn how to cook. And isn't that what we all want to do? Eating is how we keep going. So in a minute, I'm going to introduce you to Maria. Maria is the founder and the owner of Cookology. We're so excited about our partnership and what the Caribbean Food Network is going to do. We can't wait for you to see. So sit tight.
Hey everyone, welcome to Cookology Culinary School. This is our location in Boston Quarter. We have been here since 2019. We have another one in Dallas Town Center. We've been there since 2009. We've been in business for 13 whole years, aside from the pandemic, which I did a lot of sleeping. But here we are. If you want to look in, this is what you see when you come by Boston Quarter. It's fun. It's fun. It's potential fun. Everybody is looking to do something with their friends and family. So here is the front door. Follow the sign.
We are back with Thomas Penny, president of Donohoe Hospitality Services. Thomas, thank you so much for sharing the information that you did. I picked up so many jewels. It was a tragic loss of your brother, who was so proud of you for having graduated high school, and you are now having this, you're starting at its dishwasher, which some people might think is a dead-end job, or their idea of the ceiling of opportunity might be reduced. But it looks like you took that one opportunity and kept spinning it. Now, it's interesting. You've got some history as it relates to your parents and grandparents. Can you share that, please?
Yeah, so I guess, hospitality, I was born in the hospitality business, I should say. my great-grandfather, who was born in the late 1800s, who came up to DC in the late 1940s. He worked on the construction site of the first Marriott Hotel, the Twin Bridges Marriott, and then decided to go get a job inside the hotel after he contributed to building it. And then my mother and my grandmother worked at a Howard Johnson that's on Route 1 in Alexandria. It was on Route 1 in Alexandria. It's now Holiday Inn. But they worked at that hotel when I was born. They were room attendants. And so on both sides of my family, I have folks that have been in the hotel business. And so I like to say that everything I'm doing is to really show appreciation and really to deliver on the foundation that they established many years ago.
Wow, that is what a legacy to be able to draw those lines and recognize that this is what happened. And I love the fact that the family had roots in this. So just think about it. You were telling us that you were on your way. I mean, you were starting with community college and you were going to go on, but now you've been snatched, and from one opportunity to another, now you're standing in the midst. You're now hired by Donohoe companies, which, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I'm the president of Donohoe Hospitality. Donohoe has 5 operating divisions, of which one of the divisions is the hotel company. And in this capacity, my job is to basically ensure operations of 15 hotels and to make certain that we deliver the returns to our partners. Some of the hotels we own, and some of the hotels we third-party manage for other people. And, while the last 24 months have been a time of great difficulty for those of us in the hotel business, in the last 15 months, we've added 6 hotels from as far away as Las Vegas. We opened a 250-room hotel in Las Vegas. We opened a 156-room lifestyle Hilton Hotel in Baltimore, in the Harbor Point section of Baltimore. We opened a Homewood Suites in Reston. We took over a hotel in DC, and we opened a hotel in DC. So we've been incredibly busy, notwithstanding the challenges of the pandemic.
Well, I love it. One of the things that I often think about, because I do follow, you wind up in the news quite often for very positive things. And one thing I notice is that you are always making certain that those individuals that are, if you will, your frontline employees and boots on the ground, you're always finding a way. And so is Donohoe Hospitality, always finding a way to elevate the work that they do, to reward and recognize them. Is that your intention always? Because I see that common thread.
So absolutely, it's a part of our organizational culture. It's a part of how I am personally hardwired. And I think back in the early days of my time with Donohoe, I remember being up for promotion. This is 2001. And it was evident that they were actually going to give the job to another person who had more experience. The servers and cashiers in the restaurant, roughly about 25 of them, marched in the general manager's office and demanded that I get the promotion.
Oh,
And so the general manager in turn split the job in half. He promoted both of us. We shared the job. We were co-directors. And it was the employees that made the difference for me. And so because they made the difference, they continue to make the difference for me. I'm always trying to find ways to recognize them, to elevate them, to create opportunities for them. That's the driving force why I'm the first to come in the office every day. I get in the office roughly between 5:30 and 6 a.m. And when I first transitioned into my role, a few of my colleagues, one of my colleagues who ran the development company, another that ran our real estate company, they would get into the office roughly around 6:15. And so I started coming in earlier. I wanted to beat them in the office. And if I'm walking across the parking garage and I hear the parking gate go up, I'm running across the garage because I wanted to be the first in the office to have my lights on before they came in.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It takes me back to that commitment that you said everything you did would be to make your brother proud. And clearly, I can only imagine how proud he would be to see all of these accomplishments. But also, big shout out to Donohoe companies for recognizing your leadership ability and the fact that you would be pivotal in creating the type of atmosphere that would continue to make it possible for you all to keep attracting great talent. because you're always celebrating something new. In the midst of a pandemic, you're opening highly successful hotels. So I'm really happy to hear that. Now, in terms of the other things, obviously, you're telling us you started out with a big challenge at the beginning of your career. But what if some other challenges or obstacles you've encountered as you've been on this pathway?
So I would say there's been quite a few challenges, nothing greater than, again, the last 24 months. Our industry was almost shut down
Absolutely.
for the last 24 months. And we had 800 employees who depended on us to basically provide for their families. And we actually were confronted with the challenge of determining whether we could continue to hold on to folks, whether we need to let folks go, how could we keep folks? And working through those challenges have really required a great deal of innovation. And as I say, because of the experiences of my parents and their parents, I'm uniquely positioned for this moment in time because my parents, fortitude and resilience were required for them to be able to raise my brother and I. And I draw upon that strength to help get through the challenges of bringing employees back to work, maintaining their health insurance, continuing to promote folks and find opportunities to further challenge people. And then getting back to the point of running profitable hotels. The last 24 months, again, the whole industry was turned upside down, and many representatives within our business are still struggling.
Absolutely.
And so finding a way forward that is going to allow for us to continue to expand and continue to create opportunities for others have been among some of the most challenging circumstances I've had to deal with in the last 30 years.
Well, that, you know what, and I think all of us, we understand that, but the hospitality industry, travel and tourism were just hit directly in the knees. So this is really no small feat. But the fact that you're concerned and your organization is concerned, not just, everybody looks out for senior leadership, or that's the thought process, but your thoughts have been around those persons who are counting on this as their livelihood. And you realize this is a pandemic. In time, it will become an endemic, or, it will still be around, but recognizing that you needed to be able to keep those valuable people who had helped you. And now we're finding out had actually helped you to excel to one of the positions. So when you think about it, there've been dark spots during the last 24 months. What are some shining spots for you that you can think about right now over these last 24 months?
So I would say that, as much as George Floyd, what happened around George Floyd presented some unique challenges, I would say, for our country and for the world as we witness what transpired. I'm excited because the industry and business in general is more hospitable to making bold changes today than it's ever been in my 30 years of being in the business. And so what I have tried to do, even through this pandemic, is challenge my colleagues, challenge myself. How do we ensure that women and underrepresented groups of folks have the opportunity to sit at the highest levels of business? And I'm excited. We're going to be launching the Marriott Sorensen Center at Howard University. The Marriott Family Foundation put up $20 million. Marriott International put up $1 million. The foundation has since raised $5 million for the purpose of starting the Marriott Sorensen Center at Howard inside of the School of Business. And this is a program that's going to be targeting superstar Howard School of Business students for a high level of exposure and education in our business, such that they can, again, not have to wait 20 years, but they can basically learn at a high level and transition into the senior leadership level much faster. And it's one of the most fascinating, exciting projects that I've been involved with in my career. And, I've been involved in quite a few. We've ran a hospitality high school. We ran a high school in DC for 16 years. Today, we got 4 hospitality academies in DC where we have 500 high school kids learning about this business. But I'm excited, again, to have some of the CEOs and presidents of some of the major brands and management companies and ownership groups coming to the table saying we got to do a better job of ensuring that there's diverse folks at the top. I'm really excited about to see that take shape over the last 24 months.
Oh my goodness, Thomas, that is so exciting. I want to talk more about that when we come back from break and follow up with you on some other things as we're looking for it during this pandemic and beyond. So everybody stay tuned. I'm here with Thomas Penny, President of Donohoe Hospitality Services.
Time. It has a different meaning in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It goes backwards, forwards, it stops. St. Croix is rooted in history. So much of it still remains untouched.
I remember running on these streets as a kid. This shop was right down there. It opened the same year I was born. This is where the original Crucian hook was born. It's the symbol of these islands. And I wanted to have my hands in that very same history. I want to be able to pass it down to my family while still putting a new spin on it.
The U.S. Virgin Islands, we have an amazing culture that developed over time from all over the world.
St. John feels so untouched. Being underwater is like another world. There's no worries, there's no stress. I can just escape. This is my happy place. My passion for scuba diving came at just being fascinated with the water and wanting to be a mermaid. And this is the closest thing I can get to achieving mermaid status. Canadians just love being outdoorsy. We live for adventure, so we love anything hiking, being on the water, diving, snorkeling, and St. John has it all.
It's like some spirit is protecting the island and keeping them raw. The Makujumbi watches over the island. From up there, they keep the evil spirits away. The nightlife in St. Thomas is absolutely amazing. There's always something going on. Everyone comes together to dance and catch a vibe. We're always celebrating. We celebrate freedom, culture, the food, the smell, the music. It's always a celebration. The people here are probably the most priceless thing because they keep the culture going. There's so many different influences on these islands. Food from all kinds of countries coming together in new dishes. All of us came from somewhere, but all that we call this home. The VI is a new melting pot. This is where the past and the future comes together.
Welcome back. We're on the Newsmaker series of our TV network, and our newsmaker that we're featuring is Thomas Penny, president of Donohoe Hospitality Services. Thomas, we're so excited to have you back. And once again, the end of each segment, you leave us hanging on the cliff. So you mentioned this Howard Sorensen program.
Yeah, it's the Marriott Sorensen Center.
Thank you, Marriott Sorensen Center.
And I should say that Arnie Sorensen was the president and CEO of Marriott, who actually passed away in the pandemic. And, African Americans that work at Marriott, they viewed Arnie the way that my grandparents viewed JFK.
Wow.
And that he was someone who was a real strong supporter of diversity, equity, and inclusion before folks were really talking about it in a serious way. And so when he passed away, the Marriott family had some conversations with his wife and decided that this would be a tribute to something he cared deeply about. And I'm incredibly proud of the Marriott Family Foundation for showing some leadership to bring the industry together around this, and really excited about what we're going to be able to do as soon as this program is launched in August of this year.
This is really exciting. So this is at Howard University. We have such great institutions of higher learning in the District of Columbia and even in our region. And yet they chose this HBCU, Howard University, to put this program. I think that speaks volumes.
No question. And, clearly we all, and I would say the nation, owes a debt of gratitude for Howard University and removing the Jim Crow laws that basically left folks out of education. Brown versus Board of Education, that was being handled by the likes of Thurgood Marshall and Charles Hamilton Houston and others on the campus of Howard University. And so I would not be in this position if it were not for Howard. And again, we all owe a debt of gratitude. I'm glad to see Marriott obviously partner with Howard.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to be keeping our eyes on that and following up on that. So it's interesting. We're looking at just all industries in general are facing shortages as it relates to employees and staff and things like that. It's been called this is the quit era, where people are quitting. I forget the millions that quit their jobs just in the past 2 months. So why should someone, based on your experience, why should someone consider a career in hospitality? And why is this a good time?
So from my perspective, our industry is a low floor, high ceiling industry. Whether you go to college and graduate, whether you graduate high school, whether you don't finish high school, whether you're a returning citizen, whether you worked in another industry and you're looking to transition into something else, our industry is a diverse industry with multiple disciplines within it. And so there are all kinds of opportunities that exist within our business. And what is unique to this moment in time is, one, as I said earlier, the industry is really intentional about making certain that the boardrooms look more like the hotel rooms.
Wow.
And so from a timing perspective, you couldn't have selected a better time. Then, there's a massive amount of opportunities as folks come back to work. And so you're going to have a lot of jobs, a lot of folks wanting to make certain that the industry is more diverse. And what better time to come take advantage of the opportunities than right now? It's the most exciting time to be in the business in my 30 years.
Well, I think that's fantastic. And in terms of if people are looking for a career and they're being inspired by listening to you or watching you today, what would you recommend they do to try to get attached to your organization? What should they do?
So I'm going to do something that I rarely do, but because I'm on with you, I'm just going to do it. My email address is thomasp@donohoe.com. That's THOMAS, the letter P as in Peter, @donohoe.com, DONOHOE.com. We're looking for folks that want to do good and do well.
Wow.
Nelson Mandela talked about a good head and a good heart is a formidable combination. We're looking for folks that have that formidable combination. If they have the right attitude and they're eager to learn, we're willing to receive them in our business and help to really grow it and help advance us further into this recovery.
Well, Thomas, first of all, thank you for that. And yes, that is your personal email address. I knew that for a fact. That's how I contact you. So thank you for sharing that, because there are people that are watching and listening now, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do. And what's so unique is the word hospitality. One of the definitions is kindness to strangers. And there's also a movement, despite all of the things that we've seen that have been very negative in media, there is an undercurrent where people want to do well and they want to do good things. And who better than you, someone that literally rose up through the ranks because of the types of mentors and opportunities that were given to you. How wonderful and how generous of you to be able to share an opportunity for them to be able to contact you directly. So I think that once again, every time we get together for whatever the reason, I'm always inspired by you. So thank you for that.
There's also just one other thought that I just wanted to share. So when I transition into the business, one of the benefits of our business is at a time when the nation is divided, the workplace is united. Wow. And I think about when I started in the business, and one of our most senior team members was from Western PA. She was conservative. Another senior team member was from Ethiopia. Another was from Bolivia. And I was from Washington, D.C. and we learned so much from each other. And we were all better from having had the experience. The four of us would never have spent the time had it not been for us in a hotel. And so at a time when there's so much, so much hostility in the world, our industry and our business is a place where folks can work together, cultivate special relationships, learn about one another, and have a more optimistic outlook on the world. And so, that's another benefit of our business.
That's wonderful. And it's wonderful that you, being in senior leadership, know that. It makes me think about how you said you travel the world without leaving your workplace, because you take the time. Those employees, sometimes if you come here and you have a different background, different language preference as a first language, people immediately say, you better learn English. But how wonderful of you to flip the script and be determined to learn, because that is welcoming. That is true hospitality. That is kindness to strangers that in turn begets kindness to strangers. So let's think about it. We're in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And oftentimes now, with so many things happening, it's like we want to go somewhere, we want to do something, but we're afraid to maybe travel, get on an airplane. And staycation is a word that was used and overused and reused. But what are some of the things that we can do with some of your fabulous properties that are just in this region? What do you recommend for us as we're thinking about needing a quick getaway just to get out of the walls of our own homes? What are your thoughts?
An amazing staycation is a 156-room hotel. It's the Canopy by Hilton in the Harbor Point section of Baltimore. It's between the Four Seasons and the Sagamore Pendry. The hotel is about 18 feet from the water. We have inside the hotel a restaurant called Cindy Lou's. It is one of the absolute best restaurants in Baltimore City. It's a sophisticated Southern food with our partners who helped to design it, and Tony Foreman and Cindy Wolf. Some of the most recognizable names in the food scene in Baltimore are the folks that design the food and beverage experience at the hotel. We operate it. It's absolutely extraordinary. If you're sitting at the bar, sitting at the restaurant, the water is basically 15, 18 feet away. And so the food is amazing, the ambiance, the environment's amazing. There's not a bad view anywhere in the hotel. If you're staying in the hotel, it almost feels like you're basically staying right above the water.
I have to agree with you, because I will tell you, I went there. I believe one of the managers, maybe Chris Allen, I recently went there because obviously producing a conference for another company and had to check in. And I thought to myself, how did I not know about this gem? And then you're right, the reviews about the food are amazing. So that's good to know that if we're anywhere in the DMV or even beyond that, you can fly here and get to that if that's what you choose to do. But this is a wonderful drivable staycation for anyone. So we can actually patronize your wonderful properties and hotels right now and make sure that we're keeping that staff busy doing what they want to do and helping to bring back the industry quicker. Now, in our very last segment, I want to talk a little bit about the safety protocols around your hotels right now, the things that you all have done and implemented, and then just some parting words from you when we come back so that people can know how to get in touch with you, what they need to do, and what you stand for, why your hospitality services organization would be one that they might really want to be connected with. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break.
You know you are a hot one. We are lime, we are laugh, we are chat, we no chill, we are hot one. Temperature rise, beer vibes in ya, this a hot one. Link up, connect, bust a sweat when you're dead from the hot one. We gonna spice it up like fire. I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
And we're back. Thomas, thank you so much. And listeners and viewers, thank you so much for watching and listening. You're on our TV network, which is an amazing network. We are bringing you the very finest in business and health, finance, economy, travel, tourism, cuisine, all things that you want to hear and learn about. And this is our Newsmaker series. We have a very special newsmaker on today, Thomas Penny, the president of Donohoe Hospitality Services. And we've talked about everything. Thomas, you started out giving us your journey, and you have told us all of the things along the way that have been so helpful. I did want to ask you, were there any special heroes and sheroes that you wanted to recognize at this moment before we drill into a little bit about the hotel protocols that you have in place?
You know, the heroes and sheroes really for me were my parents. You know, my mother was 18 years old when I was born. My father was 23. They were incredibly young, but they did everything they could to give my brother and I the best that they could. My father, when I was growing up, would never buy us a pair of tennis shoes. He would just basically put 50 cents of gas in a gas can and then just tell us we got to go cut grass to earn the money to buy our own shoes. And so, you know, my parents just worked incredibly hard, and I'm grateful they're still alive, and I'm able to spend time with them. And so I would say that they really are my greatest heroes, my father, and my sheroes, my mother, and just
I love that. How wonderful. And thank you for sharing that. That is, I mean, that's so important. And before we go off, we're going to come back and revisit that. But I wanted to ask you right now, because obviously a lot has happened in the hotel industry. We want to be able to support these wonderful hotels that we have in our region and beyond. So how safe should we feel when checking in? What are the things that your organization has done to ensure our safety? You know, with every kind of variant out there, what have you guys been busy doing over these last 24 months, and especially now?
So we've mandated that all of our employees be vaccinated. We've taken a hard position. We've been fortunate in that we haven't had any employees become critically ill, and we want to stand on that. And so we've mandated that they be vaccinated. We've installed basically plexiglass at all of our front desks to just create some natural social distance between us and our guests to ensure everybody's safety. We've introduced new protocols that the Marriott, Hilton, and the largest hotel brands invested significant resources to basically bring scientists to the table to ensure we had the most aggressive chemicals that were safe, but at the same time would minimize any risk to our guests. And granted, we basically have brought more folks on to maintain our lobby spaces, to make certain that we're continually, treating those, and then it's all about training our team to basically, make sure that they do an even more detailed job of wiping down all surfaces, making sure that we're cleaning up even much more frequently. And again, I'm incredibly proud of the pride that they have taken on a day-to-day basis in maintaining our assets. And so I would say guests can feel comfortable in traveling right now, because your major hotel companies have invested significant resources, as have we as operators and owners have invested significant resources to ensure guest safety.
That's so exciting to hear, because as I mentioned, we're not locked down now, but we're all being extra cautious. And to know that we can still have the ability to go and have a great weekend or a great midweek visit to a wonderful hotel that has great cuisine, that will give us the feeling that we are traveling and yet we're not really moving too far out of our area. I think that's wonderful. And for those international travelers that are still able to come, you're open for business and you've got great things in the works around that. Now, one thing I did want to ask you, in terms of what I had heard before, obviously hotels are open 24/7. And years ago, I had been told, if you don't want to have to work 24/7, then don't work for a hotel, because there is no quality of life. And yet I know you to be a family man. So how do you balance that in your organization?
So what I would say is, our hotels afford you the opportunity to work at a time that really suits your schedule. We have some folks who might go to school during the day and they might want to work the overnight shift such that they can do that. Because we're open 24 hours a day, there's 3 8-hour shifts of which you can choose from. And depending upon what other priorities you're balancing, there is a shift of which you can have a presence within our business. And so there's some flexibility there. Even if you just want to work weekends, that flexibility exists. And so you are able to strike a balance. We want to work hard, but we also want to make sure we're present with our families. And that's a part of the Donohoe culture as a family business that's been around almost 140 years. And so everything is about, again, striking that balance such that we can enjoy 30 years in the business as I have. And we don't want folks to just be with us a short period of time. We want them to spend their entire careers with us.
I think that's fantastic. And that's good to hear, because if these are the things that you live by and these are principles of your company, then someone coming into this, somebody that's looking for a career change, can really experience this in a way that's going to be meaningful. And this might be the great opportunity for them, because as you mentioned, this is did you say low threshold, high ceiling?
So low floor,
low floor. High ceiling. I love that terminology. So really, you're interested if a person is of the right metal. In other words, if they have the qualities that they're teachable, willing to learn, and open to the possibility of entering this amazing industry, then you guys are there for them.
No question. And whether you want to work in a hotel, whether you want to work in a restaurant, whether you want to work at a convention center, whether you want to work at a convention and visitors bureau, this is a vast industry. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have accountants, we have human resources professionals. I mean, there's just all kinds of opportunities within our business. And for those in the DMV, this region is the hotel capital of the world. It's the only city where you have the likes of Marriott, Hilton, Choice, 3 international brands, 3 of the largest hotel brands in the world, headquartered here. And so there are all kinds of opportunities here, unlike any other place in the country. And so, I would strongly encourage folks to consider it. Within Donohoe, we're going to add 7 hotels in the next 48 months. And some of them are lifestyle hotels with rooftop bars. They're exciting hotels. We're adding a hotel in Portland, Maine. So we're actually adding assets outside the region. And so if you want to learn, you want to make a difference, you want to be in a fun environment, and you want to be in an environment where when you look at the senior leadership team, it looks like the rest of the country. We're your place. Because if you look at our senior leadership team, majority women, and it's not one ethnicity, it's a diverse composition of talent. And I'm incredibly proud of the amazing people we have at the senior leadership level. And I think as folks try to consider where they should go work, they should look at the senior leadership of the organization to make certain that you see yourself. And you will, folks will see themselves because of the diverse folks that we've pulled together at the highest levels.
Well, I am loving what I'm hearing. I mean, I think anybody would be excited to come work in an organization where you were part of senior leadership, but to know that this is not just, you're not there as a figurehead, you are actually there because this is what your company embraces. I think that's fantastic. But not only that, knowing the flexibility, because I'm thinking to myself, and short-sighted and obviously ignorant of all of the possibilities, opportunities, thinking, okay, if I work in a hotel, I either have to be front desk or I have to be housekeeping. When you started rolling off that list of things, it seems like who wouldn't want to be in hospitality? Where your goal is to be kind to strangers. Who wouldn't want to be a part of a movement like this, if you will, a career that could allow you to be in touch with so many vast and diverse individuals and just opportunities? This is exciting for me. So I appreciate you sharing that. Is there anything you'd like to tell our listeners and viewers as you're leaving on any level at all about your career, your hopes, your thoughts, or how you might be able to further inspire someone? Is there anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
I just would say 2022, we're at an inflection point in this country. We're at an inflection point in our business. 2022, once we get Omicron behind us, is going to be an amazing year. I would just encourage everybody to lean forward and make of it what you will. But take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be unique to 2022 as folks come back to work. And there are going to be some jobs that's going to allow for you to remote work, right? But just lean into the present, make the most of your future. Obviously, we'd like for folks to come consider our organization as well as our industry. But I would just encourage folks to make the most of this time and the opportunities that it presents. I'm looking forward to an amazing 2022.
Well, Thomas, on behalf of our TV network, I want to thank you for being our newsmaker today. I want to thank you for being able to share just your powerful journey and how this is a perfect time at a crisis point in your life. You made a decision and you took inspiration from something that was really a tragedy in your life and turned it into something that is continuing to inspire others. And every single day you're trying to make your brother proud, make your family proud. We're certainly proud of you. We thank you for being a newsmaker. And if anybody wants to get in touch with him, it's thomasp@donohoe.com. And Thomas, thank you. Until next time, this is Carolyn Howell signing off for our TV Network's Newsmaker series. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Everyone, be careful.